Alright, so how did I come across this car? Very interesting story, not really. I bought it on a whim about 4 weeks ago. It all started about 4 years back. I'm used to driving kind of cool cars. My Miata at the time, I had an NB. I really like Miatas, they're really cool cars. Broke down. I was in a long-term relationship with a woman at the time. And she said, grow up and get an adult car. She's like, go down to Howdy Honda, buy a used car. I did. Told the guy I didn't want more than 2 doors and I wanted a sunroof. I wound up with a 2012 Honda Civic. And when I bought it, the salesman, really nice guy, handed me the keys. And he said, most people are really excited when they buy a new car. You seem depressed. And I was. I had been used to driving whatever I liked, whatever struck my fancy. You know, like Volvo turbo wagons, Miatas, F-150s, 67 Mustangs, that kind of stuff. So this was the first like real, and it wasn't even an adult car. You know, it's like a high school, college car. Anyway, 4 years later, I still have it, and I'm not going to get rid of it. It's my daily driver, completely reliable, 40 miles to the gallon. Exceedingly cheap to run and maintain. My personal mechanic back in Round Rock, when I bought the 2012 Civic, said, you know, Ray, I'm never going to see you again. So anyway, woman's gone. I'm sitting around one day going, you know, why am I driving this Honda? Let's get something cool. And I started looking around and I could not find any new car to justify me getting rid of that Honda Civic. It was just too inexpensive to operate. So I just got on the interweb, the internet as they call it, the Google webs, and I started looking for a car that I could buy outright. I was looking at Jeeps, you know, classic cars, 280Zs, stuff like that. And I wound up with a 1996 Ford Bronco full size. And I took it out immediately to my grandma's farm and I took the top off of it and I just drove it around like that. And the reason I bought it, the guy took not meticulous, but he took care of it. I mean, it had new tires, new exhaust, new brakes. It ran. In Texas, it's very important. It was inspected, and he had a clean title in hand. So I paid cash, signed the title over, went and paid the taxes on it, and it was mine. And anyway, lived in Austin for quite some time. Family stuff happened. Mom's okay now, but she had a little problem. Family wanted me to come out here to Houston, so I put out the feelers. Better job, more money, better working environment. So I'm here in Houston now, and the plan in Austin, I'm a teacher also, was to give the auto shop guys in Austin the Bronco and let them work on it. Well, it took me a while here to find a high school that wanted to work on it. So the Bronco has been gone since November. We're now in May, and I still don't have the Bronco back. I don't know what they're doing to it. But anyway, in the meantime, I got kind of lonely. So about a year from the time I bought the Bronco, I got the bug again. Why am I driving this Honda? I'm doing about a 100-mile round trip a day. Let me get a cool car. Same exact scenario. I could not find a new car that I liked, that I could justify giving up 40 miles to the gallon, really cheap insurance, really inexpensive to maintain and operate. I mean, it's a functioning car. It turns over every time. It's a great daily driver. Hard car to take on a date. Ladies don't really like it. But anyway, I wound up finding this Isuzu Vehicross on Craigslist while looking for another Bronco. I thought, well, you know, I'll just pick up a second Bronco or maybe a Jeep. In the meantime, I came up with this, and this was literally 4 miles from my house at a place called Best Automotive, and I bought it from the owner there, Aaron Best. And again, I felt comfortable with this, the same reason I felt comfortable with the Bronco. The guy knew the history on it, more or less. It runs, it drives, it's inspected. He had the title in hand. Air conditioner works. I can lock my bike in the back. Just all around cool car, which I've had my eye on for a long time. I've known of them. I didn't really know the full story on them. And so I bought the car on a whim. I paid cash for it, drove it home, and then I got to looking it up, and I went into this completely unprepared. I did not realize that Isuzu is basically out of the U.S. market. I knew they were rare. I didn't understand how rare they are. I started looking for parts and was sticker shocked at parts. 2 weeks, well, I bought it with the ABS light on, not blinking but on, and more on that later. But within my first drive, I drove it from here, from Houston to Austin and back, and about Waller on the way back, my check engine light came on and my check transmission light came on. So I drove it back to Best Auto. It turned out to be a mass airflow sensor clean out. They did that, the check engine light went off, and then they did a transmission service on it. And I gotta say, it's running lower RPM and I'm burning less gas and it's shifting a whole lot better. So in the beginning I kind of had buyer's remorse with this. Like I said, I bought it on a whim. I took the money, I was going to buy another Bronco or Jeep, and I bought this. The more I drive it though, the more I really like it. And from what I've been reading on the old blogs and everything, and on the old Vehicross forums, people are right. This car is divisive. People love it or hate it. There's no in between. And Vehicross owners also right here. People are shocked and amazed to find out that this is a 1999 car. They're always like, oh, well, that looks like something that's only a couple years old as far as styling and design aesthetics and all that. Now, this car does have some problems, which brings me to this whole YouTube channel and the posting. I was too excited about it when I bought it. Like I said, it was an impulse buy. I didn't really look it over thoroughly before I bought it. It has some gap issues. I'm pretty sure it's been in a wreck. I didn't do any of the due diligence on it. I'm just like, hey, it's at a price that I want. We agreed on a price. I drove it home. I own it. There are some issues with the cladding, which we'll talk about later. I'm probably going to order some cladding used tonight. I have ordered a new right rear view mirror. I have ordered a new right rear tail light bezel. I got an issue with the running lights. Whoever had it before me bought the LED lights, which are really expensive. The problem is I think there's a fitment issue. If I move the bulbs around a little bit, they'll light and they'll unlight. So what I think I'm going to do there is just buy some just normal bulbs and stick them in there and see if they stay lit. If they do, I'll know it's a fitment issue. If they don't, it's something in the wiring, and that's a whole nother story. As far as the ABS light, I've been doing some research on that. That's going to be a project this summer. We'll figure that out as we go. Again, I've always found YouTube very helpful when I do projects, either on cars, around the house, or on appliances. I'm not finding a whole lot on YouTube about these cars as far as general maintenance goes. And the forums that I'm finding are really old. Maybe I'm not typing the right words into Google, or I don't know. But anyway, follow me along on the adventure of trying to bring this thing back to working order. It's missing some pieces. I'm not doing anything crazy. I want to keep it stock. I'm probably going to enjoy it for maybe a year or two, work on it a little bit, and then find somebody to pass it on to. Funny story about the guy I bought it from. He was going to take it out to his deer lease and just use it on the deer lease, and his wife got a look at the car and said, that is too nice of a car for you to take out to the deer lease and tear up. You pass it on to somebody that appreciates it. And so he'd been kind of hesitant to sell it here and there. And like I said, we kind of, we understood each other, let's put it that way. So no crazy modifications. I want to get it to where it's safe. I would try and drive this every day, except the gas mileage is terrible. I do a 100-mile round trip. I get 40 miles to the gallon on that Civic. It would be crazy. But I have driven this to work once or twice, just to see how it operates. There are some things I'd like to do to feel a little bit safer on the highway, like tighten up the steering, get the brakes to where I feel confident in them. But more or less, great car. I don't regret it anymore. No more buyer's remorse. It's a lot of fun. It's like I drove Miatas for a long time. I tell people it's like a hardtop four-wheel drive Miata. This thing turns tighter than my Honda. I think it turns tighter than the Bronco, and the Bronco turns pretty tight. It has a pretty high lift. I don't know if it's as high as the Bronco, but it's pretty darn high. And amazingly enough, there's not a whole lot of room in here. You can fold those seats forward. And like me trying to stick my bikes in here, I can fit barely a bike, an Arctic cooler, and my bags, and still have room for maybe one more person up here. So surprisingly small amount of room. But anyway, follow me along this summer. Hopefully I'll get some content out on a regular basis. The goal right now is maybe bi-weekly. If I can't do it bi-weekly, once a month. But anyway, when I do things like replace cladding, put in a new reservoir, I need a new windshield wiper reservoir, have one on order. There's an improper power steering reservoir in here that I'm going to replace with the proper one. Changing out the rear light bezels. I'm going to have the steering wheel rewrapped professionally, and there's a seam on the back seat that needs to be sewn up too. That's all I'm not going to do that. I'm going to send that out, but I'll keep you all posted as I go. So anyway, all in all, really fun car. Glad to join the community. Please go ahead and follow me. If you leave a post, please keep it positive. If anybody trolls, please don't respond negatively. Trollers just want attention, just leave them alone. Anyway, subscribe to the channel and enjoy the ride. You may get a laugh. You're gonna laugh, cry, and then laugh some more.